It is day 91 of reading through the scriptures. I missed yesterday and I already did 90, what I should have read yesterday, earlier today. But anyway, this is the reading 91, and we're on day 91. Alright, we are starting in Leviticus chapter 1. We'll also have a chapter from Jeremiah, a chapter from Psalms. Psalms 91 is one of my favorite chapters out of the whole Psalms. And then Acts chapter 2, that is one of my favorite chapters in the New Testament. So it's going to be a great reading today. Hope you stay around for it. And Yahweh called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of appointment, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to Yahweh, you bring your offering of the livestock, of the herd or of the flock. If his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it at the door of the tent of appointment for his acceptance before Yahweh. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the ascending offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. And he shall slay the bull before Yahweh. And the sons of Aharon, the priest, shall bring the bull and sprinkle the blood all around on the slaughter place, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall skin the ascending offering and cut it into its pieces. And the sons of Aharon, the priest, shall put fire on the slaughter place and lay the wood in order on the fire. And the sons of Aharon, the priest, shall arrange the pieces with the head and the fat on the wood which is on the fire on the slaughter place. But its entrails and its legs he washes with water. And the priest shall burn all of it on the slaughter place as an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And if his offering is from the flock, from the sheep, or from the goats as an ascending offering, let him bring a male, a perfect one. And he shall slay it on the north side of the slaughter place before Yahweh. And the sons of Aharon, the priest, shall sprinkle its blood on the slaughter place all around. And he shall cut it into pieces with its head and its fat, and the priest shall arrange them on the wood which is on the fire on the slaughter place. But the entrails and the legs he washes with water. And the priest shall bring it all and burn it on the slaughter place. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And if the ascending offering of his offering to Yahweh is of birds, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it to the slaughter place, and shall wring off its head, and shall burn it on the slaughter place, and its blood shall be drained out at the side of the slaughter place. And he shall remove its crop from it with its feathers, and throw it beside the slaughter place on the east side, into the place for ashes. And he shall split it at its wings, but not sever it. And the priest shall burn it on the slaughter place, on the wood that is on the fire. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah next. And we are on chapter 25. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Yehudah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, son of Josiah, that is, the sovereign of Yehudah, which was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, which Jeremiah the prophet spoke to all the people of Yehudah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 13th year of Yoshiahu, son of Ammon, sovereign of Yehudah, even to this day, this is the 23rd year in which the word of Yahweh has come to me. And I have spoken to you, rising early and speaking, but you have not listened. Moreover, Yahweh has sent to you all his servants the prophets, rising early and sending them. But you have not listened nor inclined your ear to hear, saying, turn back now everyone from his evil way and from the evil of your deeds, and dwell on the soil which Yahweh has given to you and your fathers forever and ever. And do not go after other mighty ones to serve them and to bow down to them. And do not provoke me with the works of your hands, so that I do you no evil. But you do not listen to me, declares Yahweh, so as to provoke me with the works of your hands, for your own evil. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts, because you do not obey my words, see, I am sending and taking all the tribes of the north, declares Yahweh, and Nebuchadnezzar the sovereign of Babel, my servant, and shall bring them against this land and against its inhabitants and against these nations all around, and shall put them under the ban and make them an astonishment and a hissing and an everlasting ruins. And I shall banish from them the voice of rejoicing and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones and the light of the lamp. And all this land shall be a ruin and a waste, and these nations shall serve the sovereign of Babel 70 years. And it shall be when 70 years are completed, that I shall punish the sovereign of Babel for that and that nation, the land of the Kasdim, for their crookednesses, declares Yahweh, and shall make it everlasting ruins. And I shall bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah has prophesied concerning all the nations. For they too shall be enslaved by many nations and great sovereigns, and I shall repay them according to their deeds and according to the works of their hands. For thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel to me, take this wine cup of wrath from my hand, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. And they shall drink and shake and go mad because of the sword that I am sending among them. I then took the cup from the hand of Yahweh, and made all the nations drink to whom Yahweh had sent me, namely Jerusalem and the cities of Yehudah and its sovereigns, its heads, to make them a ruin, an object of astonishment, a hissing and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh sovereign of Mitzrayim, and his servants, and his heads, and all his people, and all the mixed multitude, and all the sovereigns of the land of Uz, and all the sovereigns of the land of the Philistines, even Ashkelon and Azza and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all the sovereigns of Tzor, and all the sovereigns of Sidon, and all the sovereigns of the coastlands which are beyond the sea, Dedan and Tema, and Buz, and all who are in the farthest corners, and all the sovereigns of Arabia, and all the sovereigns of the mixed multitude who dwell in the wilderness, and all the sovereigns of Zimri, and all the sovereigns of Elam, and all the sovereigns of the Medes, and all the sovereigns of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the reigns of the earth which are on the face of the ground, and also the sovereign of Shishak shall drink with them. And you shall say to them, thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, drink, be drunk, and vomit, fall and rise no more, because of the sword which I am sending among you. And it shall be, when they refuse to take the cup from your hand to drink, then you shall say to them, thus said Yahweh of hosts, you shall drink, for look, I am beginning to bring evil upon the city which is called by my name. And should you be entirely unpunished? You are not going unpunished, for I am calling for the sword on all the inhabitants of the earth, declares Yahweh of hosts. And you shall prophesy against them all these words, and say to them, Yahweh roars from on high, and utters his voice from his set-apart dwelling place. He roars mightily over his fold, a shout as those who tread the grapes, against all the inhabitants of the earth. Tumult shall come to the ends of the earth, for Yahweh has a controversy with the nations. He shall enter into judgment with all flesh. The wrong he shall give to the sword, declares Yahweh. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, see, evil is going forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind is raised up from the furthest parts of the earth. And in that day the slain of Yahweh shall be from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented or gathered or buried, for they are dung on the face of the ground. Howl, you shepherds, and cry, and roll yourselves in the ashes, you leaders of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and your scatterings are completed, and you shall fall like a choice vessel. And a place of refuge shall perish from the shepherds, and escape from the leaders of the flock. Hear the cry of the shepherds and a wailing of the leaders of the flock, for Yahweh is ravaging their pasture. And the pastures of peace shall be cut down because of the burning displeasure of Yahweh. Like a lion he shall leave his hiding place, for the land shall become a waste because of the sword of oppressors and because of his burning displeasure. That's a pretty powerful chapter too, but let's go to Psalms 91, which is kind of about the protection of the Most High. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, who abides under the shadow of the Almighty, he is saying of Yahweh, my refuge and my stronghold, my Elohim in whom I trust. For he delivers you from the snare of a trapper, from the destructive pestilence. He covers you with his feathers, and under his wings you take refuge. His truth is a shield and armor. You are not afraid of the dread by night, of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that walks in darkness, of destruction that ravages at midday. 1,000 fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it does not come near you. Only with your eyes you look on, and see the reward of the wrong ones. Because you have made Yahweh, my refuge, the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil befalls you, and a plague does not come near your tent. For he commands his messengers concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You tread upon lion and cobra, young lion and serpent you trample underfoot. Because he cleaves to me in love, therefore I deliver him. I set him on high, because he has known my name. When he calls on me, I answer him. I am with him in distress. I deliver him and esteem him. With long life I satisfy him and show him my deliverance, my salvation. It's people, because he has known my name, those are the people he saves. So, I definitely recommend understanding his name. It is good to give thanks to Yahweh. That is his name. Most translations will say L-O-R-D here. That is not his name. That is a title, an attribute that I think distracts you from the truth of who he is. Yahweh means I am the existent one. So I definitely recommend knowing his name and calling on his name. I'm going to skip. I'm going to read a little bit in Proverbs before we go on to our last chapter. This is Proverbs 30. We're going to read the first 4 verses. The words of Agur, son of Yacheh, a message. This man declared to Ithiel and Ukal, for I am more stupid than anyone, and I do not have the understanding of a man. And I have not learned wisdom that I should know the knowledge of the set apart one. Who has gone up to the heavens and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if you know it? Every word of Eloah is tried. He is a shield to those taking refuge in him. So when you know him, he is a shield to you. That's what Psalm 91 was saying. Do not add to his words, lest he reprove you, and you be found a liar. Okay, enough preaching for now. I'm going to go to Acts chapter 2. I may be preaching after this. I may be preaching in the middle of this chapter. That's kind of a powerful chapter to try not to preach and just read the words that are written. But that's what I'll try to do for the start. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come, this is what they call Pentecost. It's an Old Testament festival, 50 days after Passover, actually after the wave sheaf offering during Passover, which is the day of the resurrection. So that's when it is. It's in several places, but especially Leviticus 23. We can read about it. I'm going to start over. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set-apart Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them to speak. Now in Jerusalem there were dwelling Yehudim, dedicated men from every nation under the heaven. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together, and they were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to each other, Look, are not all these who speak Galileans? And how do we hear, each one in our own language in which we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and those dwelling in Aram Naharaim, both Yehuda and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, both Phrygia and Pamphylia, Mitzrayim and the parts of Libya around Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Yehudim and converts. Cretans and Arabs, we hear them speaking in our own tongues with the great deeds of Elohim. And they were all amazed and were puzzled, saying to each other, What does this mean? And others mocking said, They have been filled with sweet wine. But Kepha, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said to them, Men of Yehuda and all those dwelling in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and listen closely to my words. For these men are not drunk, as you imagine, since it is only the 3rd hour of the day. But this is what was spoken by the prophet Yoel. And it shall be in the last days, says Elohim, that I shall pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And also on my male servants and on my female servants I shall pour out my spirit in those days, and they shall prophesy. And I shall show wonders in the heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and splendid day of Yahweh. And it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Men of Israel, hear these words. Yeshua of Nazareth, a man from Elohim, having been pointed out to you by mighty works and wonders and signs which Elohim did through him in your midst, as you yourselves also know. This one, given up by the set purpose and foreknowledge of Elohim, you have impaled and put to death through the hands of lawless men. Him Elohim raised up, having loosed from the pangs of death, because it was impossible that he could be held in its grip. For David says concerning him, I saw Yahweh before me continually, because he is at my right hand, in order that I should not be shaken. For this reason my heart rejoiced, and my tongue was glad, and now my flesh shall also rest in expectation. Because you shall not leave my being in Sheol, nor shall you give your lovingly committed one to see corruption. You have made known to me the ways of life. You shall fill me with joy in your presence. Men and brothers, let me speak boldly to you of the ancestor David, that he died and was buried, and his tomb is with us to this day. Being a prophet then, and knowing that Elohim had sworn with an oath to him, of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, to raise up the Messiah to sit on his throne, foreseeing that he spoke concerning the resurrection of the Messiah, that his being was neither left in Sheol, nor did his flesh see corruption. Elohim has raised up this Yeshua, of which we are all witnesses. Therefore, having been exalted to the right hand of Elohim, and having received from the Father the promise of the set-apart Spirit, he poured out this which you now see and hear. For David did not ascend into the heavens, but he himself said, Yahweh said to my master, sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Therefore let all the house of Israel know for certain that Elohim has made this Yeshua whom you impaled, both Master and Messiah. And having heard this, they were pierced to the heart, and said to Kepha and the rest of the emissaries, Men, brothers, what shall we do? And Kepha said to them, Repent, and let each one of you be immersed in the name of Yeshua Messiah for the forgiveness of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the set-apart Spirit. For the promise is to you and to your children, and to all who are far off, as many as Yahweh our Elohim shall call. And with many other words he earnestly witnessed and urged them, saying, Be saved from this crooked generation. And then those indeed who gladly received his word, were immersed. And on that day about 3,000 beings were added to them. And they were continuing steadfastly in the teaching of the emissaries, and in the fellowship, and in the breaking of bread, and in the prayers. And fear came upon every being, and many wonders and signs were being done through the emissaries. And all those who believed were together, and had all in common, and sold their possessions and property, and divided them among all, as anyone might have need. And day by day, continuing with one mind in the set-apart place, and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising Elohim, and having favor with all the people. And the master added to the assembly those who were being saved day by day. I have a lot more to say. Let's go to somewhere in Exodus. We just read this a couple days ago before we got to Leviticus. The Israelites had fallen. They built a golden altar, or not a golden altar, a golden calf. And so we're in 32. And all the people took off their golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them to Aharon. So in the process, when Moshe was up on the mountain with Yahweh getting the law, and Yehoshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, and he said to Moshe, "A noise of battle in the camp." But he said, "It is not the sound of those who shout in might, nor is it the sound of those who cry out in weakness, but the sound of singing that I hear." So he saw them around the calf dancing. Moshe's displeasure burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. So the 2 tablets were broken. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at in here is, right after this, they had a bunch of them die, and it was 3,000, I believe. I'm trying to find the exact location. Okay, verse 28. It's still 32. And the sons of Levi... Okay, I'll start in verse 26. And Moshe stood in the entrance of the camp and said, "Who is for Yahweh? Come to me." And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves to him. And he said to them, "Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, each one put his sword on his side, pass over to and fro from gate to gate in the camp. And each one kill his brother, and each one his friend, and each one his relative. And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moshe. And about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. So there's a prophetic idea that these 3,000 people of the children of Israel were replaced in Acts chapter 2 by the 3,000 who came to the truth on Pentecost, Shavuot, in this day. And they had them immersed. Verse 41 of Acts chapter 2. Then those indeed who gladly received his word were immersed, and on that day about 3,000 beings were added to them. So they came back, were given back to the number of the people in the faith in this day. Tell me what you think about that in the comments, and I'd love some comments about the whole reading today. This is one of my favorite readings of the 91 days I've been doing this, so love to hear your comments. Thank you, and have a nice day. We'll have another reading tomorrow, hopefully. Or maybe a baby, and I'll try to catch up again if that's what happens.